instead. That's nice to see. So even though we haven't seen North Georgia really be able to march forward with a lot of convincing attacks, at least the back line up until now has been secure. Can't get the read on the bounce, and that's finally our first goal. 10 seconds to go for Kennesaw trying to close this one out.
Yeah, still with the pressure here from Kennesaw. Now only our second demo. This one from downtown, and that's going to be an own goal here at 3 seconds. We spoke a little too soon here, Danger Talk. Slavit, left side, little tap, not really taking away possession. Now definitely does. Displayer going up, the double tap. Hugh Dog and North Georgia come from behind victory with the Puma symbol on the side.
As we've seen many time with new rosters in the beginning of the semester, this might be the first time these players are really playing together at all. So this is really setting the tone for how you guys all click together. Kwong trying to bury one here on the near post, and he does just that. Better. Might be able to pad those stats. Kwong throwing it right back in. That should be open, but it's just wide instead.
Almost gets the nose down onto it. A couple members fighting, twisting, and now an open net the other way going for North Georgia. Nobody's almost hitting payload. Now is Joel. A little soft hit right there. Kind of just puts it in the breadbasket of a couple North Georgia players. That's really, really bad as this one comes all the way down from the other side.
Being able to con the defense out of a clear that gets you the ultimate goal, as we will be able to enter into that 1-1. Maybe not for long as that clear gets away. Hugh Dog into Archie, and well worked from North Georgia. Safe to the side. They're feeling like heroes. They're keeping it up. Slavit into the ceiling. Sharky doesn't get it. Joel with a deflection. It's Quonk at 0. Hugh Dog in the way. Another save. North Georgia will very much so take that ball hitting the grass. Overtime somehow.
Now coming up for the serve. Hugh Dog down. That's a bouncer just a little bit too high though as Sharky tries to continue the theme. Down bottom. And Archie does it here for North Georgia. Set up all day long. Now shoots in right now. The Quonk is going to win that 50. Seems screaming off to the side. Bounce off some wall and now ends middle until North Georgia gets another shot at it.
Let's be open for Hugh Dog, and they will make no mistake. Kwong, I gotta say, a great effort, but sometimes you need something even greater. You're seeing a player get thrown all the way across, like Joel's really just flailing, and you're thinking, okay, well, I probably have enough time to go to the corner, and then instead, it is in your net, something they're becoming quite familiar with.
Welcome back to ECC. My name is Crife and I'm joined by my good friend Zobi over there. We have quite the games for you today with College of Staten Island and Utica Blue. You know, Utica's both orange and blue, but today we're feeling blue. So here we go for the two teams coming up today. Zobi, how you feeling?
I mean, I was here for week 1, now we're in week 3, so we can see some of how these teams have changed a little bit now that we're partway into the group stage. And I mean, I'm just excited to see kind of what the day will hold.
That's honestly fair enough. I'm pretty much the same here. You know, every game is a new game, and we've seen here, you know, Utica Blues had a clean track record this season, especially here in the East Coast Conference. It's been running pretty well, and their orange team side by side, they've got some sort of equal results as well, but it's going to be interesting to see today how these two teams go head to head. We've only gotten one loss from CSI right now, so we'll see again how that one goes as well. Got a few really epic maps coming up for us today as well. Should we go and take a look?
Yeah, and I mean, I completely agree that they're interesting because Ascent was an insta-ban for one of these teams, was for CSI. So it looks like we're going to be going to Lotus first, Breeze second, and the decider will be one of the classics, Haven, where CSI will be starting out on the attack for all of these, and the defense will go over to Utica Blue. And I think Lotus is particularly interesting being UB's pick because that is the one map that College Staten Island was able to take off of SNHU in week 1. Like you said, they did lose 2-1, but they put up a great showing because their compositions and how they've been changing them on the fly have kind of left some teams stranded in terms of how to adapt and how to kind of react.
Oh, the power of statistics, indeed. Looks like maybe we'll see them go head-to-head with the anti-stratting today, but all of that aside, I'm sort of ashamed that we don't see Sunset today, but time will tell. We're going to come through shortly to Agent Select, but in the meantime, I agree with you. Lotus is quite the interesting pick, and it is sort of a relatively new map. We've seen, Haven and Ascent sort of coming through as the staple maps, right? They've never really been cycled out. You've seen Split get cycled out and Pearl and everything in between, but we are seeing these two stay in as pillars, and it's impressive to see teams are slowly leaning away from these older picks. We have being introduced.
Yeah, I mean, Lotus, as we move into Agent Select, is the other 3-map site. But what's interesting to me is the fact that, and they could completely prove me wrong here, but CSI has gone with a single controller composition, and it's the Harbor that they've leaned into, or at least the last time they played against SNHU. So I'm wondering if they're going to reprise this, or like I said, lean into that kind of attitude that they have on Haven and Ascent, where they've swapped compositions between week 1 and week 2. It'll just simply be interesting to see. But for now, the Hovers are kind of revealing that they might be going more towards a meta composition. Lonnie already with the Omen Hover, the Killjoy for Shattered. And I think they might even have a substitute player for AMG today compared to week 1. So that'll be interesting to see how that applies to the mix. Versus on the side of, Utica Blue, that's pretty much the standard go-to, I would say, for Lotus at this point.
Yeah, definitely. And coming in here, it's very impressive to see there's not really a double controller thing that is the staple, right? We are seeing a lot of double controller because taking space on a map like Lotus is imperative, especially as we come in and take a look at how things adapt over time, right? There are teams that really don't play by the textbook, if you will, and it's still really important to see how we're evolving skill-wise and how teams in the collegiate scene are able to adapt to these maps. So, of course, for Utica, they've opted for a double initiator, but we're still trying to see with CSI what's going on here with their picks. Not a lot of time left. We've got to see how they're going to take this. Is it going to be double initiator or double controller? Oop, looks like we've got a double coming up here. There's not even a double.
Yeah.
I said there's double duelist. Here we go.
And I think, we said, that's kind of the repercussions of having that substitute player for AMG, because they usually have Braintham on the Gecko, actually. So now they're flexing over to kind of fill in the role that, they usually have another player play. And I'm interested to see if this will change kind of the success that they had against SNHU on this map, or if kind of the set strats that they have AMG will kind of flow into very nicely. But either way, it'll be definitely a treat to see as our first map. And I feel like both of these teams are going to be just as aggressive in terms of how they approach their defense, right? You have the double duelist versus that kind of breach raise combination on the side of Utica Blue. So I'm expecting to see, the fault line nade combos. I'm expecting to see, a nade and a jet maybe dash up with that tailwind. Like you said, they might usually use double controllers to take space, but these duelists can do this same kind of job for them.
Of course, and given that, I think if you do doubles initiators, double duelists, you're seeing a lot of aggression either way, no matter what group you are in. Definitely right here. But it's really important to keep in mind that when you're on the defense, reactivity is really what's going to hold you there, right? Because you're trying to play off of what the attackers are doing. You're not trying to lose that space that you have. So let's see what goes on here. Looks like CSI is leaning relatively towards B right now. Being a little bit slow off the rip. Pristine getting that turret down immediately. Make sure that there's no information being given here. Just like breaking a dart.
Yeah, I mean, look at
getting the positioning down.
The immediate rotation, though. As soon as they kind of apply that pressure B main, they rotate over to A. And now you have 4 players if you follow through on the side of CSI into this site hit.
They're still playing relatively slow, nevertheless. The bomb is still leaning towards mid, so we might just have a flank here. One player still posted on B. Utica is not taking any risks with these jump spots. Wizard staying on site. Saga is already picking up on the audio cue here as we're seeing with that ping. And they've begun to realize nothing is happening on A right now. Slight shift, making sure the numbers aren't lost. Here we go, that first fight of the game. Getting picked off for Utica here. Leaving defenders a lot of space to work with. The plant's coming down.
This is a beautiful timing here, as long as they don't check behind them. And I mean, look at the discipline from Lonnie. And although they're kind of funneling into this site, the question is, can Lonnie get all of these frags in time?
Ooh, look at that discipline indeed. Oh my gosh. And coming through here for that final pick. Complex finishing it off. That was quite the flank indeed, I've got to say, and to have that discipline, it's something, you know, I don't have it personally, it's something that's really going to help a team in every single way. It's not just about discipline, it's about how you're taking fights and positioning yourself, and that's imperative for any team. Yeah, so here we go, Utica's on the board.
But even with that flank, right, Utica was still able to come back from it. Like you said, that 3K from Complex, completely pulling them back into it. And I mean, the fact that they hinged so much on that kind of flank player and that player Shattered who aggressed into C-Link is a little bit scary, because it might kind of foreshadow the inability to hold down a site in the post plant. Obviously, it's round 1, it's a pistol, it happens. You're still kind of warming up for the day. But I mean, they immediately rolled into that site without kind of much, I guess, counter utility coming out from the College of Staten Island. So I'm hoping they can choke up on that a little bit here, but for now, we're jumping to the next round, and it looks like Pristine might have spotted out this A main pressure, and now here comes the Initiator utility to try and force them out.
Super crucial to get that second flash and scale off of that flash, right? It's really important to at least get that info flash initially, but then that second flash, you have to be scaling off of utility like that. And now that rotation's really allowing CSI to have that flexibility. Bomb on the front line too. This conga line is quite the setup. As Sage is slowly getting picked off here, Anchor really following through with a flash. And the rest of CSI's begun to take site space. Utica going with that rotation as soon as possible, based on that scalable utility. Bomb not down yet, but Wizard's going on a hunt. Ooh. Trying to be a Wizard here with that double gun pull out. The pistol comes in clutch for all of Utica, despite that force. Look at that, the Stingers and the Spectres in hand. Still opting for the classics.
Yeah, and I mean, a great rotation on the side of College of Staten Island, but when you have a composition like Utica Blue does, they have so much kind of just pure stall utility. I mean, you saw like the Rays and the Sky combination over onto the A side, denying that space, and as soon as they got to C, they had to deal with these frag grenades, they had to deal with the fault line, and all of that just kind of allowed the rest of the rotations to come through, and they completely shut them out. I mean, I want to praise them as well for being able to get the trade off of Sog and be able to at least pave that way into Bend, but that's really as far as they got. Here, though, we're into the first rifle round, so it'll be kind of the true telling, and I'm wondering if that's why we're seeing more reservation from these A players, because look at this 3-person plank coming through on this C site. The Killjoy Shattered is going to be the one to receive it here, potentially through B main. We'll see if they can hold on to their life, or if the gun will be handed over, but for now, it's actually the A site being conceded.
Ooh, and Complex is still trying to get that pick, but CSI is right on top of it. Starting to take a bit of sight. AMG's going for that higher perspective, right? Again, I said this last time, it's like having a Minecraft spider, right? They've always told you, don't let the spider have the higher ground, and AMG's channeling right into that. Ooh, and door's not been quite broken off yet. Oh, spoke too soon. And the bot is down, so Sorry Sun's probably going to be able to start taking space once the rest of them join together, but a pick's off for Utica. It's only 2 left, and their breach is relatively low HP. We got to see something going for Sorry Sun to be able to scale off. And there goes that final pick, last place standing. AMG coming back up to their space to get that pick off as well.
Yeah,
despite being in satchel mode, they still managed to get that pick.
I mean, yeah, AMG's been going huge, like you said, that positioning able to kind of cut off stairs and that door rotation point. And I mean, you saw it. I mean, Prestige was not ready to clear that angle. They were more worried about door, revolving door. They were more worried about sight. And now they even have this showstopper online, which could dismantle, like I said, that stall utility that's been kind of locking down these sites so far. I mean, I think they were the one that even got the first pick into that A site, was able to take, Wizard out of the picture, open up the site for the rest of the team to get the plant, to get that tree positioning gain. Either way, though, for now, it's once again this Killjoy lurk while the rest of the team's exploring towards a site. And I mean, they're not even being spotted out, and the question is, will they follow up on the site of Utica Blue, or are they just going to stop there?
Ooh, fault line coming through to stop CSI from that entry. But that's not stopping AMG, and the satchel's coming up. First pick down for Utica, and that's a 2 down as well. That trade really going to help CSI now. Not on too much of an advantage here with the Rolling Thunder coming online for Utica. This could be the time for them to retake in 1 second once they have the rest of Utica coming through for that retake. That rotation is crucial here, and CSI setting themselves up.
Yeah, I mean, numbers advantage not in their favor. Like you said, Rolling Thunder online, so that's why they're trying to vacate here. Braintham trying to hold on as long as they can, but they don't even have a tailwind, and look, they just mound all together. They don't care about who's on site. They can take that space nonetheless.
Here we go, the defusal. fault lines come back online for Anchor, so that's allowing for a stick, and they're gonna keep going. Saga cannot do anything, and that's another round online for Utica. Really incredible utility, and that scale through main. So we really saw that Rolling Thunder come into action. They didn't do it on site.
Yeah, and I mean, the confidence that they knew that nobody was on site just probably because of the fear tactic of the Rolling Thunder in itself was an amazing read. And then I do want to point out just the initial kind of shutdown of AMG as well. I mean, yes, we saw Saga with the Dizzy over towards the backside, but it came in milliseconds late, so wasn't able to help out in that fight against Wizard. And then once that kind of nade and that space clearing utility is gone from AMG, you saw a lot of that weight pull on to Braintham, who held on for a little while, but can't forever as their utility dwindled. Now, though, once again, A-Site, where they got their first point, is where they're looking to head here yet again. 3 ultimates to work with, heavy execution ones as well. The Thrash, Showstopper, even the Lockdown as a post-plant option if they can get that far into the round. But what's interesting to me is they have 2 people lurking towards B this round instead of just the Killjoy. And as they even open up a pick there, that's where Spike's going to be headed.
Ooh, and these sightline blockers and the damage util is going to be the forefront of this round here for both Utica and CSI. As they're trying to get a feel of what's going on, it's almost like they're playing a bit of a default, see what they can pick off first, and get an advantage over that second frag. They've evened out in terms of numbers. Trying to get a pick here. And this trade playing double for Utica, impressive move as the bomb begins to move C. Wizard remaining on site. Is this utility going to be enough? Oh, and the teleport working. Lockdown coming straight through to help Utica out a little bit. They don't really have much.
Yeah.
Oh, and here goes the bomb plant.
Lonnie's not done hunting. Yes, they might have low HP, but they're trying to play off the safety of this lockdown, and they'll find one. Sorry, Sun's going to be sorry for that one. And ultimately, the numbers advantage that they had has quickly dwindled. It's back to a 3v2 favoring College Staten Island.
Oh, and that Tassie Tiger just managing to miss Shattered, but that straight pick off. There we go, made themselves up again. 1v1 here, it's coming close. Both on pretty much half HP here. Bomb needs to get defused. And Pristine is going straight for the picks. The aggression is coming hard. The timing. Oh, and this fight. Mound on the forefront. Out of time to get that defusal. And Loney really going in, playing for time there. Playing Ring Around a Rosie is just that typical common tactic of being able to play for time.
I mean, I never really have thought of that angle of how you fight around Mound. Usually it's a little bit more pivoted towards straight aligning with the C-Banes. That was definitely an interesting fight to be taken. But what's interesting there to me is the fact that they only used the Killjoy lockdown to get that round on the board. And I feel like maybe they learned from SNHU a little bit in how they were able to kind of layer their ultimates. That, or maybe the fact that the Showstopper and Thrash were taken offline so early is the factor. But either way, if they can keep this economy, they can quickly kind of stage this comeback that they've now kind of escaping this one-on-one round exchange that they've had so far with Utica Blue. For now, though, I mean, like I said, you forced them into a save here, so this should be another round if you don't make any major mistakes.
Oh, but don't curse it. We might just see an anti-eco win here for us. But nevertheless, CSI is opting for C this round, going straight onto side, and AMG's at the forefront right now. Rocket Fuse has come online as well, so we could see some of that as 3 ultimates from both teams post come through.
And like you said, maybe I did curse it because they've just literally delivered a weapon into CT here for the retake. The Blade's trying to deny that space now that the first duelist has fallen, but they're alone on site at this point. Saga will fall too.
Oh, and the Tassie Tiger's actually gonna pick finally as the bomb's coming down. Utica's really trying to scale off here. Oh, the fault line and the flash together. Guiding light, guiding that fault line through, and Complex is trying to peek up and grab a gun in the process. And Brain just managing with the blade storm to miss it.
And they get a collateral there.
That call out indeed. Loney's trying to play for time again around the mound. Taking Complex out, and it looks like it was a foolproof plan once again for CSI. It's a love 3.
Yeah, I mean, Lonnie's just been online so far. I mean, when their duelists have fallen, they've taken space DT, and even then, somehow they get out unscathed and play the post plant beautifully. I mean, that's the second round in a row that they've clutched up for their team in those 1v1 situations. Like you said, playing time beautifully, playing that objective. And I mean, I'm not sure if I want to see, more aggression from them or just keep doing what you're doing because it's working. But I mean, they have this from the shadows, and I want to see that kind of give them their star moment. But either way, also on the side of Utica Blue, they've been sitting on these ultimates for a little while. They were so fast to use their Rolling Thunder on a retake, but that hasn't been the case for the Showstopper and this lockdown. Now, though, heading into the B side, there's 3 players here waiting in Link, and here comes the fault line, and it's going to be the nade actually, deny pretty much.
All those double picks coming straight down. Utica's really on top of things here as the lockdown's following straight after those picks. Really helping to scale up that utility and get that advantage. Not just the lockdown, but being able to further push what they've just done. And there we go. Loney's just chilling on A right now, trying to figure out what is going to happen next. Bomb is down B site. They don't have a lot of leverage here.
Yeah, but they have the from the shadows, so that's probably was the recovery planner option here, and there it is, in fact, as I laid out for you. But the issue is, Shatter did fall to Sorry Sun here, so they're ready to combat this, and Lonnie has to exhaust this extra utility just to get deeper on to this site, and basically, they're in the 1v4 here, because Saga's just now getting to the site.
Oh, this bomb plant could still go down if Sorry Sun didn't bring one down with them. And now there's 30 seconds remaining. Saga needs to get to the bomb and get there fast in this 3v1 situation. And the flashpoint coming straight through, that's going to eliminate Saga. Really important there that the flashpoint was followed by a double peak, not just that singular. So they really brought the party there.
Yeah, and I mean, I talked about how they were sitting on ultimates a little bit too long, it felt like, and we saw Wizard there, you know, forcing the hand of College of Staten Island with that lockdown so early into the round, and I mean, I think it definitely kind of scrambled the Dolphins a little bit. They didn't really know what their plan B was, at least that's what it felt like. I mean, yes, they had the loose plans of using that from the Shadows to recover it after it had been lost in no man's land on the B side, but the follow-up kind of fell apart. They were too kind of distance away from each other once Shattered had fallen. Now, though, trying to go for more of that collective site hit here. What's interesting is they have the Rays lurking instead of the Killjoy here. Now that they're on this eco round, they either want maybe to say, okay, we're selling an A hit with this Rays utility, but I mean, that turret's gonna spot out the idea here on B, and look at the fault line response again.
Ooh, that fault line not quite able to allow that Gecko utility to come through properly as it should. But Sorry Sun's got that flash ready to go through, and the blind side allowing him to scale off, but that's not going to stop CSI. So we're seeing all this util come down, but the bomb's still not down with it. And within 10 seconds, we just saw everyone get eliminated for Utica to come back on the board 5-3. What a round.
I mean, like I said, every single player on the side of Utica Blue has some sort of stall utility. I mean, as soon as the fault line ran out and the effects were nullified and you saw the re-entry coming in from CSI, that's when the paranoia and the swing came in. Following that, I mean, obviously they kind of were more dry swinging with each other, but the trades were coming through nonetheless, and they only lose 2 there on the save round for CSI. Here though, now back to rifles on rifles. I think this is going to determine kind of the course through the rest of the half. I mean, if Utica Blue wins this, they probably reset CSI into a save, and they should solidify their lead, maybe even more so. But look who's trying to change that.
Showstopper coming right through. Finally, we're seeing some action here. Ooh, and some extra util following it through. Now we're able to scale side as CSI comes through. The lockdown is down and everything in between to allow them for that advantage. One person down, but that's not going to stop them. They're slowly staying on side, but playing it for some extra picks here. Oh, look at Loney's aggression with Brain.
I mean, this is what I wanted to say. I didn't want to see those standalone duelists kind of living or dying together, but it's working out so far. I mean, Sarison's the only one to find a pick, but they might be the hero that they need. Suddenly, it's a 2v2, and these players are divided on the side of CSI.
It's time to get on the bomb as soon as possible because we have not seen that much of a defusal for Utica on C site. Let's see how it goes here. One more person left. Hopefully we're not playing Mound Ring Around a Rosie here as Shatter tries to come through, and Sorry Sun just has that smoke advantage. Just coming straight through that smoke to allow for a final defusal on C.
Yeah, I mean, in my eyes, that round was just hero play from Sorry Sun. I mean, like we talked about Braintham and Alani with that insane crossfire nullified kind of the waterfall push out, but then they were too focused on that angle, and the pressure from CT kind of just collapsed that attempt inward. On the other side of things, though, I mean, that round felt like an all-in on the side of CSI, right? They had 3 ultimates online, and they invested all 3 of them. I talked about how maybe they were learning to layer them like SNHU does, but they completely dropped that on its head that round and didn't even come away with the win. Now Lonnie, obviously 11-6, is the only one with an ultimate on board from the shadows. It's a nice insurance policy if Spike goes down, but otherwise, I mean, pristine. Already the first blood, trying to go towards that 7 or more rounds in their defensive half.
Turning a page in this chapter now as AMG trying to get some extra space. with their teammate, but Anchor's not allowing it. Anchoring on B side as we wait for some extra information. CSI is playing it a bit chill on this 5v3 now. Especially on this eco, there's not a lot to work with here. The ultimates are not online for them, and the bomb is down at this point in time. They need another pick to leverage them back up again. But is this possible with a Stinger and 2 on site? With this pinch coming through, and the flashpoint helping Wizard to take that as well. Getting a little bit confused here, but AMG, coming up close with the 2, and Anchor and Wizard following together. Love that double play from them, and there goes the flawless for Utica.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a save, so they were probably looking for more default, waiting for that kind of overstepping on the side of Utica Blue. But I mean... Right. Even when they did, like, Pristine, going on these hero expeditions alone, they got both of those frags, right? Even though they're at the bottom of the leaderboard, they're making sure that impact is heard. They're making sure they're locking down the space that they need to. And obviously, like you said, that C-site pinch was beautifully coordinated as well. So not letting even the lurk players slip through the cracks here of this defense. And I'm hoping that now as we go back to a rifle, they'll kind of stop the bleeding, try and go towards that 7-5. As look at this joint utility comes in, but it really doesn't hit anybody.
That's quite paranoia, if I do say so myself. And the rocket fuse has come back out. Pristine is ready to go here. Double rocket fuse as the first pick comes down. 2 members of both teams low HP, and the fights are beginning here. A lot sooner than we suspect on A over the last few rounds. Shattered beginning to scale up that space as the rest of Utica decides to fall back. Here we go, utilizing door space to get onto A side as soon as possible. AMG's trying for a lurk here. Turret's not going to be too lucky there for them, and Sorry Sun's trying again with a smoke to clear off that sight line for them. Shatter gets a plant down, and here we go, CSI on site, 4v3.
It almost baited a B rotation, but now their sights are set on the A. They knew they had that numbers advantage. They knew they had the Rolling Thunder for the retake, and now that it's in, Saga's on an island backside, and every player for Utica Blue getting their frags, leaving Shattered in the 1v4.
Well, that flashpoint's really going to leave Shattered at a disadvantage, but never mind with that extra swinging, missing every single flash there. Really well played off there to be able to swing off, get those picks in a time where they wouldn't expect that they would be not flashed. They just went 3 flashes there, not one seemed to really hit them.
Yeah, I mean, even then, like we said, they had numbers. They were okay throwing the trades over the side of CSI. I mean, 8-3, right? In my eyes, this should be an attack-sided map, too. I mean, that's kind of historically what it's been like, both with these aggressive compositions like the double duelist, like the double initiator, and the fact that there's 3 sites. But, you know, Utica Blue's putting up a good case for the defense right now. 8-3, so dominant. And yes, they might not have that many ultimates now to work with. They're only 2 off from this lockdown in the last round. So when you get a frag or 2, you can get a lockdown for a retake. But either way here, trying to outpace the momentum here on A main. Already the Shroud step over to Rubble, but it's read by Complex, and all eyes are actually going to be on Saga here. And they should know that they're in that corner. They should know.
When the flashpoints are on the forefront right now for both Utica and CSI, and Complex has decided to fall back, so there goes that corner space, and the guiding light doesn't quite catch Loney, who's sitting. Right, and here we go through. AMG's trying to scale off that space, super important for the room, but to scale it off first. And the nade following quite after. Paint Shell's really going to help to scale even further. But AMG's taken a different spot. Holding up on that high ground again like we saw in A prior rounds.
Look at this flank.
As Loney comes around.
I mean,
starts to flank Complex.
They did it first round of the half. Now they're doing it last round of the half. Can it have the same impact though?
And so far, spray control.
Exactly. The answer is yes. And it's Sorry Sun again, the other clutch Omen in the 1v3, searching for pick after pick, and Shattered is going to shut that down and lock down the 8-4 for their team.
That double swing off as well with one on high-low mound, right? Having that extra high ground from mound and then one right below it is really going to help throw off the opposition here, as we just saw happen to CSI, to Utica, as we swap halves.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously a change in half can help you kind of shift your momentum. It's like a fresh start, not in the economy hole like CSI kind of was for the later part of their attack. But either way, I mean, being up 8-4, you really can't slip up a mistake here. I mean, if you lose this pistol, right, that should theoretically be 2 rounds in a row based on the economy flow, and that's double digits and you're down to 2 lives in this first map, which granted, I mean, is obviously Utica Blue's pick, so it's not the worst map to lose in the world, but it definitely puts you in the doghouse going into Breeze map 2. Either way, though, we're jumping into the round, and it does look like it's more of this C-B split. Maybe going to dump some utility onto this Gecko, this Omen, to either fake an attempt or maybe even flush out a pick. But for now, the C site is only a turret defending it because of that B utility.
Oh, there goes that first pick for Utica as well on that attack. Really going to help to leverage them, get onto Seaside with their space. Tasmanian Tiger helping them to scale it as much as possible. Breaking that turret, no information allowed here for CSI, but here comes the Utah to retake it immediately with that quick rotation. And AMG helping afterwards.
This is the duelist show.
Oh, and that aggression coming through. What a read, that immediate rotation. CSI's on the board again.
Yeah, I mean, that, I couldn't describe it better. That was so back and forth. It seemed like the momentum was so in, Utica's blue favor, especially off of the ground gain by Pristine there on Waterfall, off of that Pain Shell, being able to shut down Shattered, being able to as well, put another player on the island, their back site. And I mean, the fact that it collapsed that quickly from like you said, that rotation, those reinforcements arriving, looks really promising on the side of the defense for College of Staten Island. Now, though, they kind of have these weapons on line, and the question will be, can they stage the counter thrifty to put their kind of track towards a match point back on the right side of history?
And Utica Blues opting for a bit of a B hit right now, but that could change in a matter of seconds with the opposition and that opportunity to grab through door as the rest of Utica Blues waiting for them on the other side of C main. Smoke coming right down, so Shad is able to keep that space that they've already had. Pristine is getting ready for a swing, as we've just seen here. And this space begins to get spaced, if you will.
And I mean, they leave no angles uncleared with the utility.
None at all, as these fights keep getting faster, and that's picking off Utica as well. With that deficit in numbers, now one person remaining, and Saga's opting for utility, but that dry swing takes it over. Sorry, Suns just coming up together, but that low HP gonna help them. And there goes that pick off from Braintham.
Messy, buy round nonetheless. I mean, only walking away with 2 of those weapons is going to hurt now this round. You're either going to have to force up those rifles or kind of stage a very powerful bonus round if you want to start closing this gap even further. I mean, now 2 rounds separating them. If they can convert this, and then they'll have guns next round, it'd be huge. But I mean, we've seen how these gun rounds tend to go, and even though Utica's Blues has lost these last 2 rounds, they've been pretty neck and neck nonetheless. So hopefully having the better weapons will give them that advantage that they need to actually close out a round. And it looks like they're headed back to this C site. They know they can take it pretty effortlessly. Pristine shutting down Shattered every round. That's exactly what it looks like they're going for here again.
This is just what you said, right? They're both putting up quite the fight, no matter what it's saying exactly to us on the board of that win. But we're seeing something happen here with Utica Blue. Started on C, slowly wrapping around to A, but Braintham is just waiting and ready as that initial pick, but the trade comes in, leaving Utica back up for that ability to stay up. And Loney trying to keep that space that is needed for CSI as that rotation begins through, and Pristine doing that pristine job at clearing side here.
Yeah.
Ooh, the bomb comes down. Oh, and Pristine goes through, coming straight up for that extra space. Coming straight back down again to fall back. They're at that advantage now. Here comes that second pick for them, keeping them up here. That information getting immediately scaled off for Utica Blue to come through. The second there's something, they take it in, and Pristine finalizing off that round for Utica Blue.
So Pristine is clearly an attack-sided duelist. That's what we're finding out here. From the bottom of the leaderboard, quickly now kind of rivaling Sorry Sun here at the top, kind of propelling their team forward here. I mean, they've been in the entry into the seaside 2 times, even though it fell short in the post plan. Now they finally were able to close out around with these rifles. And, I mean, I liked the idea that came out on the side of, Utica Blue there. They tried to bait out the fact that they are kind of quicker to the rotation on the side of CSI. Like you said, they've been to that C site ready both times, but it didn't quite work. Like Braintham, like you said, was there ready, anchoring, but that was the best weapon they had, was that Guardian. So they didn't have a lot of retake power under their step on the A site, and that ultimately, in my eyes, why it crumbled. Now, though, back to rifles on rifles here, and this could determine kind of the pace of the rest of this game. Either double digits for Utica Blue, or their economies reset even further, putting CSI on the road to recovery.
It's making it a bit tough for Utica though, as their scalable utility isn't able to be scaled. CSI is really keeping it sharp on C from how they've adapted so far in this new half. door getting set off, possibly for some information on rotation. CSI's not taking the bait though, as Utica begins to start a re-hit. Ooh, and the silence coming through. It looks like Saga is keeping it in. And here comes the rocket fuse, ready to pick them off. Turret in hand, but that's not stopping Pristine from coming through. Oh, and these rocket fuses are not quite going to find anyone, but scaling off that space with the paint shells as well to try and make sure that that does at least something. Complex getting that plant down. Utica's got the space. Two remaining for CSI. Oh, and that collateral! Never mind, it's a 2v2 now.
Hey, Volt.
Another rocket fuse available for CSI. And this might just allow CSI a retake here. 1v1, there goes that rocket fuse that I just mentioned. And Braitham getting fully paranoid by Sorry Son. As you say, not sorry for that one.
I mean, just the fact that Sarius had that much utility that late into the round is astounding and shows how much space Pristine has been able to gain off of their utility alone here on that C site. And I mean, I did see CSI trying to make those adjustments, right? You saw Saga there reinforcing the bend hold while Shattered instead was that waterfall player like normal. But even then, they kind of rotated, like you said, a few milliseconds too early based off of that revolving door, based off of that lack of information or sound on the side of Utica. And although the duelists tried, they could not close out the round, and that is double digits now in favor of Utica Blue. And it doesn't look like they're showing really any signs of stopping here. Once again, trying to go towards this B site where Shattered is the only player really on this site with this turret. Saga now joining them as well. But look, AMG, what do you do? You have a Spectre, buddy.
Ooh, partial save here. Indeed, as we're seeing with that Spectre. Oh, but the rocket fuse is going to replace that. Not quite finding anyone. And that satchel not quite able to go off in time. Utica's really scaling it here. There's only 2 left from CSI, and there's barely time that's passed for the round. 5v2 here, and the Rolling Thunder's online for Utica, leaving them even more leverage to be able to come through to bomb. Sorry Son helping to scale with the guiding light. Really important to have those two come through. And Shattered getting picked right off. It's a one-man standing Saga with a Marshall. Oh, and there goes that original pick to be able to help them get some space. But they have that information. They're going to scale off of it as Utica begins to take more space to pick Saga off.
Ooh.
And this pick is not going to stop anyone as Saga's coming through with a head tap.
They're going to
right
get
in the
flanked
dome,
by
picking
2,
up a
look.
Sheriff. Oh, but that hope really just got shot down here as Wizard makes their magic happen. Leaving another round for Utica.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a rivaling kind of last man stand coming out from Saga there to hold on with the Marshall, but ultimately it's just kind of ego or economy damage here as like they pull on to 11 now, 1 off for match point. It also does bring the Thrash online as well, so that's maybe a retake tool in the situation. But I mean, even if it is a retake tool, you're looking at a lockdown, you're looking at a Rolling Thunder that can easily, as soon as that's popped, you pop one of those and it's over.
Yeah, most definitely. That's so important to keep in mind here as we're coming through. And the flash points have just been the forefront for both teams as well. So this spacing, these multi-dimensional hits with those flashes is really making a difference. And it's being kept up from both sides, both halves. Oh, and AMG's ready with the paint shells to come through. CSI is trying to scale, even though we've got no push up from main by Utica. There's just one smoke in their way. But here it goes! Smoke's dropping down and Loney gets traded off. Not much of a deficit here as both numbers have evened out. Utica's got 2 ults able to come online. Rolling Thunder's still there, ready to go as needed.
Oh, look at Sorry
1
Son.
minute. Ooh. Oh, but that alarm bot! Not able to be as useful as that pick comes straight down from the Killjoy. 50 seconds remain, no plant yet. But the bomb's on its way.
Yeah, I mean, they've cleared out the biggest side off of these dark covers, off of that pick, like you said, onto, you know, Shattered. And, I mean, it's a smart take, but now, even as Anchor finds AMG, flank options taken off the table. Thrash could be invested kind of haphazardly. As you can see, Sorry Son pushes up and punishes, leaving Saga again in the hero clutch situation. And they're caught with utility out, and it will be Pristine to lock down the map point in favor of the Mooses. Mies,
You know
who knows?
what? Yeah, definitely, but it's so important to notice how well that Utica has been scaling their space since they've swapped over to attacker side. They're keeping it, and then they're playing like defense side once they get that post plant down. And reactivity is really important for the defense, no matter if you're on post plant or just simply on the defense like CSI is right now. So again, that reactivity is really playing it off well here with that occasional extra push.
Yeah, but look at this fragmented buy now. I mean, you have some people with rifles, but they also have an Ares and a Bulldog. And that's why there's this kind of aggressive positioning here. 4 players here on the C side. This might be exactly where it ends, Crave. Look, again, Saga
One
in the
remaining.
1v5 hero.
Oh my! And the rocket fuse by Pristine is not stopped by one thing. Rolling Thunder can't stop them for jack right now. Saga, again, as you said, last one standing once again. Oh, and we're seeing a wrap here. Pristine might just have it as we
There it
close
is.
out the map. Getting complex, killing them off. And here we come. First map for Utica Blue. What a game, Sobi.
Yeah, ending it in Flawless Flash and completely kind of turning the idea on its head there. That this was the fact that this is the map they took off of SNA to U Blue. And my question kind of is, I'm wondering, since that was kind of a broadcasted map, like you predicted, did Utica Blue VOD review that? Did they counter strat what they saw? Did they nitpick kind of the strategies that CSI was bringing into the game so that they could have that successful kind of defensive have to get them started and then as dominant of an attack as they did to kind of close out? Yes, they had a little bit of a rough start on their attack, but as soon as they realized the rotation patterns, it was kind of over for the Dolphins. Fear not, though, this is a 3-map series, so they have kind of their map pick on Breeze to kind of fight back here and hopefully send themselves to Haven. But I mean, that was pretty dominant, and it does make me a little bit fearful in a site like Breeze, where, you know, it is more defense sided and like the mid game is so like paramount.
But you know what? Never fear. There's a CSI's pick coming up, so they're going to have a little bit of leverage here, hopefully. And these counter strategies are maybe going to be able to come into play here. We've seen a full map where both teams have been able to learn how they both play their styles of both defense and the attack, and that's hopefully going to give both CSI and Utica a bit more knowledge in mind, of course. So we're going to go to a break briefly, come back to map 2, Breeze. Don't go anywhere.
Nice to see. So even though we haven't seen North Georgia really be able to march forward with a lot of convincing attacks, at least the back line up until now has been secure. Can't get the read on the bounce, and that's finally our first goal. 10 seconds to go for Kennesaw trying to close this one out.
Yeah, still with the pressure here from Kennesaw. Now only our second demo. This one from downtown, and that's going to be an own goal here at 3 seconds. We spoke a little too soon here, Danger Talk. Slavip left side, little tap, not really taking away possession. Now definitely does. Spider going up, the double tap. Hugh Dog and North Georgia come from behind victory with the Puma symbol on the side.
As we've seen many time with new rosters in the beginning of the semester, this might be the first time these players are really playing together at all. So this is really setting the tone for how you guys all click together. Kwong trying to bury one here on the near post, and he does just that. Better. Be able to pad those stats. Kwong throwing it right back in. That should be open, but it's just wide instead.
Almost gets the nose down onto it. A couple members fighting, twisting, and now an open net the other way going for North Georgia. Nobody's almost hitting payload. Now is Joel. A little soft hit right there. Kind of just puts it in the breadbasket of a couple North Georgia players. That's really, really bad as this one comes all the way down from the other side.
Being able to con the defense out of a clear that gets you the ultimate goal, as we will be able to enter into that 1-1. Maybe not for long as that clear gets away. Hugh Dog into Archie, and well worked from North Georgia. Safe to the side. They're feeling like heroes. They're keeping it up. Slavip into the ceiling. Sharky doesn't get it. Joel with a deflection. It's Quacket 0. Hugh Dog in the way. Another save. North Georgia will very much so take that ball hitting the grass. Overtime somehow.
Now Coming up for the serve. Hudog down. That's a bouncer just a little bit too high, though, as Sharky tries to continue the theme. Down bottom. And Archie does it here for North Georgia. Set up all day long. Now shoots in right now, but Quonk is going to win that 50. Seems screaming off to the side. Bounce off some wall, and now ends middle until North Georgia gets another shot at it.
Which be open for Hudog, and they will make no mistake. Quonk, I gotta say, a great effort, but sometimes you need something even greater. You're seeing a player get thrown all the way across, like Joel's really just flailing, and you're thinking, okay, well, I probably have enough time to go to the corner, and then instead, it is in your net, something they're becoming quite familiar with as a feeling. There's number.
Demo does come through. Those Hudog taking down a Kennesaw State member. Back to the middle, screaming up to this one, now to the left side. All three members right here. This is a very bottled up defense, and Sharky takes a bite.
No one even there because, frankly, I think Kennesaw thought that bounce was going to be going a different direction. Same maybe with the defense here for UNG. They can't read it. Slavith does. It's 1-1. They were actually on the far side waiting for an awkward touch and then dove in and actually used their flip angle to throw it right back in the middle. Of course, I'm talking about them. And meanwhile, it's just Swiss cheese for Kennesaw. They're getting sliced through by the blade that is the UNG attack. How about Joel trying to show them how it's done? It's a little bit too soft, a little bit of a double commit even. Quonk near post, that's a miss. Slavin, that's a miss. Joel, that's a miss. Everybody swinging at it. Get these people some corrective lenses because it's Sharky on the far side with the clear vision from the teammate. My goodness, my heart.
And there's really no need for them to. There's only one way that they can come in. This is perfect execution, and with all 5 members left up standing, they only have one opportunity to get in there. Raga, 3 kills on the board, make that 4! Raga on fire already in a flawless first round here. Raga. As much as I respect this B wall being put here, the problem becomes is that they have the weapons to really mess things up. Oh, Ossify not clearing the corners, up in the air.
No way!
Sunflower still walks away before finally being taken down with 2 kills. Gonna blast them right in. Parker's gonna try and find it. 2 concussed in heaven, but they're not gonna get any advantage out of this breach ultimate. Beautiful from Killavati. What a way to fight that out. And now wrapped in it, the nightmarish embrace of Glore. USCA finds every single player of GCSU. In comes the Prowler. Mad is at her. It's just not many. It's head after head after head. 3 in a row. They are not stopping. They are putting a hat on each and every single one.
Ties us up 4-4, but with this weapons disadvantage and now player disadvantage, what else to be done other than lay down and die? USCA winning split 13.
Welcome back to the East Coast Conference. My name is Crive, and I'm joined by my good friend over there, Zobi. We just saw Lotus as Utica Blue takes up that first map against CSI, and we're coming through to Breeze very shortly. Again, same sides that we started on, so we're going to see some really cool action here. Zobi, how are you feeling from that game?
Yeah, I mean, not only did they take their map pick, but it was in a pretty dominant fashion. 13-6 closeout after a phenomenal 8-4 start to that half. And, I mean, thinking over to Breeze, where it's even more defensive-sided, I'm expecting to see similar numbers, if not better, from them, considering they're starting out on the defense again here versus College Staten Island will be on the attack. The only thing that I want to point out, though, is that there's no kind of footage of Breeze for either of these teams. We don't know what CSI is cooking, and that proved to be kind of difficult for kind of our fan favorite of SNHU, so maybe that'll kind of surprise element can be their leg up as well against Utica Blue.
Yeah, most certainly, but we also have to keep in mind that Breeze just got revamped, right? And they got put straight back in the map pool along with Sunset, as Pearl got taken out as well. So we're going to see something different, right? We haven't really seen Breeze come through in pro play as much as the other maps. You know, Ascenta's been that staple, like I've said, and Haven's been that staple. They've never really been thrown out of the map pool, but Breeze is back in and better than ever. So we're coming into Agent Select here, and Utica's already opting for the Jet as well as Staten Island sort of hovering over it. Ooh, and this possible double operator for Staten Island too.
Yeah, and interesting because Ken's not here for CSI, and they're usually the Jet player, and they really weren't opting to too much. So it'll be interesting to see if Braintham kind of pulls out that operator like you said, or if they'll lean into Lonnie with the Tour de Force. I'm kind of sad. I wanted to see Lonnie on the Yoru because they were experimenting with that over on Ascent, and like Breeze is kind of starting to become the playground for that agent, that duelist. But like you said, it looks like they're leaning more towards maybe a double controller on the side of Utica Blue versus on the side of CSI. I don't know what they're thinking yet, right? I mean, AMG played the Rays over on Lotus. You'd expect them to reprise their role on Duelist, but Saga's hovering the Phoenix, and, you know, I'm guessing Saga's going to go for, like, some sort of initiator, but I'm wondering if they are just going to run that single controller and have AMG be a double Duelist, or what role AMG is going to fill here.
The Mooses have their sights set on straight locking in, but it looks like CSI is still sort of deciding, as you said. You know, we had this triple duelist, if you will, that was coming in with the Phoenix, the Chamber, and the Jet, right? Chamber has had that knowledge and the ability with the Tour de Force especially to really act like a duelist when needed. But here we go, and AMG's not quite sure yet on what they're going to go as time comes out. Oh! And triple duelist it is. Saga was coming out up on that Phoenix, but tossed it straight over to AMG. So here we come on Breeze. Same sides.
Yeah, I mean, we weren't given the Yoru, but we were given something even spicier in the form of the Reina pick. And I mean, the fact that AMG was already kind of self-sufficient, being that entry point a lot for CSI, makes me think, okay, now here the question is, are they going to be kind of even like on a pedestal even more so, or are they going to lead into that kind of Reina lurking? And I'm hoping that it won't get shut down. Like I said, Breeze is kind of that mid-heavy map, and you might leave, Braintham to entry through kind of cave, and you might have, you know, alert coming out from the Reina from AMG up mid-door. But then again, I mean, with the grasp on the defense that we saw from Utica Blue over on Lotus, I don't think they're going to be able to get through mid as easily as they're going to hope here. Either way, though, we'll have to see what the map will tell. And so far, it's looking like they're just going to go for kind of a decisive A-hit, right? Like, it's the start of the map. Let's just go with the standard. But, I mean, you can already see here 3 players on the side of Utica Blue invested here. And I mean, even as the toxic screen now falls, you can kind of tell that's kind of a pre-indicator as to where they're going, because you only have this one smokes player.
And this classic hit on A, as you said, it's better to be safe than sorry, son. Nevertheless, Anchor's come through, wall up as well, but still getting damage with the Tasmanian Tiger spotting them off, scaling that molly for the attempt, but CSI has already taken their sight space. As our duelist on the forefront getting eliminated straight up by Utica. Making those attempts, low HP here, but that's not going to stop them from continuing off. CSI's 2-man remaining. Looks like this toxic screen's really coming to help here.
Now they're hunting down Shatter here, and Shatter is good for 1 and a second. Ooh. So they are not going down without a fight, but it'll have to be an ace here in the 1v3, and they're already getting flanked here potentially by the hardware. Yeah, look.
Ooh, they had the hunch indeed, just that timing indeed. You know, being able to pinch, right, as you say, really crucial to know, you know, we have this fight, we have this information, let's scale on it while we can, especially in a pistol round.
Yeah, but that time was just kind of off there, especially with the toxic screen kind of fuel depleting as fast as it did. And I mean, both, you know, Vipers, they're putting up the 3-1 scores here. And I mean, it shows kind of that this is Vipers' playground. It was before kind of the changes. It is now after the changes. And I'm expecting to see kind of that be the pivotal defensive front, especially considering, right, like you said, they have this chamber in the form of Lonnie. And I mean, even the other side has a chamber. So that's their kind of sentinel hold, but let's see if they hold on to mid at first.
And look at this, the toxic screens come back up, just as you mentioned before how useful that is for Utica. It's still being maintained, especially on mid. It's coming straight through sufficiently as AMG begins with the frags. Oh, and here it comes on mid. Things are still being heard in terms of gunshots, so it's not slowed down necessarily, but the bomb needs to come down pretty soon. It's just sitting alone on elbow.
Yeah, they're kind of waiting for these lurk players, these opposition players to pay off, but AMG and Shatter can't. They're both gone. It's now Lonnie, 45 HP, no real information other than where Complex was playing. And that's exactly where they're about to walk into, it looks like.
They're pretty far from the spike in retrospect, so they don't really have a choice but to walk straight in, especially with 46 seconds left to get that and clear the space. But Utica's keeping their peoples on side as Complex goes for that final kill, and Utica's got 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, that's the follow-up you expect there, and like I said, just a solid grasp on mid. I saw, like, the glimmers of it, like you said, that gap in the toxic screen kind of proving a little bit dangerous in terms of conceding that doorway space, but they ultimately fell back, kept the guns, made sure that they could instead address the sites, and they kind of just, like, let, you know, CSI take advantage of the open space. I mean, you saw kind of how far, you know, Lonnie was into Nest, into CT, and where AMG was as well, and both of them really couldn't get any much work done. Either way, though, now you have rifles, and that's why we're seeing this aggression from Utica.
Yeah, especially given these forces are really coming through. Ooh, and this Vandal pick as well, but that's not stopping them from the aggression. 2v2 now. What has happened with these forces? Super important to be able to keep that, and anti-eco wins are so crucial. But Utica's fallen to that aggression, getting power hungry for those picks as it comes into a 2v1, and Shattered's not in the best space to get a bomb down with Pristine on side waiting for him, trying to clear off space. But do we see a wrap?
Yeah, they're so worried about this Viper. And
Yeah.
I mean, I still don't even know if they'll have the timing, right? As soon as they get back pillar, you're probably gonna have Pristine swing. Or look, they already main, like...
Anchor sees nothing with the Spectre. Shattered is wrapping! There's no idea from Pristine! 1v1 now, it's about a Viper diff here, and Anchor's on a Spectre. Oh, but this plant attempt! And the swing down close range. There you go, putting Utica up again. A Spectre's not stopping Anchor.
Yeah, Viper diff there in that regard in the 1v1 situation. Like I said, they were so kind of nervous about when Curd was, and then once they took care of the Jet, they were kind of like a little bit more lax about it. Didn't think that maybe they had wrapped main, maybe got the timing into that elbow position. But on the other side of things, I do want to kind of compliment that bonus strat, right? Even though that initial aggression into main failed, it was just kind of traded out immediately. You saw Pristine there immediately with the backstab, and it was stunning.
Backstab is one way to put it as we come into this next round, and maybe we'll see that happen again, right? Hitting things multi-dimensionally seems to be a pattern for Utica. Oh, and Pristine with the first blood, getting that revenge from last round. Pulling it straight back here. Things aren't quite slowing down as main has some information, both toxic screens intersecting. And the entry's begun, but it's not stopping Anchor from swinging the toxic screens. That happened in a matter of seconds, so let's break that down for a second.
I mean, that's the second round they've tried to go directly into the A site, directly into Anchor, and that's the second time they just kind of shut the door on them. Yes, you know, the no-scope from Shattered might have made them lose their life, but the damage was done. And in addition to that, right, I mean, even though, like, Anchored is doing the job on their own, right? You still have these two backside players. I mean, you have Sorry Sun rotating from mid, you have Wizard from backside, and I mean, even as they fall, you see those reinforcements arrive, and just the coordination here makes it seem like this is even their map pick.
Yeah, that's one way to put it.
Oh.
We're seeing here, it's just still happening. As AMG's blindsiding is not quite doing too much, but the toxic pit hopefully going to help that out here as Loney gets that extra pick for CSI. Utica's down. Only two remaining here, but the ultimates are online. We could just have some hope here.
Yeah, Reckoning, if they choose to invest it. Saga at 1 HP gives them even more kind of hope here. But my question is, are they going to overgrass like they just almost did out of the pit? Or are they going to play with the teammates here? That'll be kind of the decider here. Same with as this toxic screen falls. Look where AMG is.
You might be right, that trigger happiness has taken it, but AMG's swinging, staying online, staying alert with that flow state come through as we can see here, and Sorry Sun has come back in a main and flipped the script. But that's not going to stop CSI as Brain of them coming through for that final pick. CSI is on the board now with that incredible Viper's Pit helping them out.
Yeah, I mean, just be able to get that clean shot off of Complex to get that operator offline on the B defense. They were kind of hinging on that lockdown ability, hinging on them hitting those shots. So that was nasty first blood into the round. And then, you know, yes, AMG kind of was fiddling around the idea of exiting the pit. The rest of the team hunkered down to play with Shattered there. And, like, they just couldn't get back into that site. They knew it was a 2v4, so they didn't want to invest these ultimates. And, I mean, it's a smart decision, right? That's the first round you've given away. You're up 3 additional rounds. You can use those ultimates in rounds that matter a little bit more. Like this, full buy on full buy.
Yep. And here we go, speaking of ultimates, the Empress is in and on town. This plant's coming down. AMG's ready to defend with the lettuces being released. And Saga helping out the team here. Ooh, is AMG gonna swing with the
Again.
Empress in? Ooh, Complex with the operator. That's bringing AMG straight offline as we're in a 4v3 now. Can't quite bring that operator offline like last round, as you said. Sorry Sun's coming around on another wrap for Utica. Getting picked straight off. Wow. CSI is actually starting to adapt here.
I mean, the trademark found its victim, able to get Saga to reposition, but it's actually Braintham holding down this pillar position so beautifully, and although they'll fall, they might have just wasted enough time, and yeah, Wizards gonna be forced to save this operator.
But hey, an operator is an operator. You gotta do what you can. And Utica's got quite a few rounds on the board, so it's not gonna be too much of a problem for them. What we have seen here, as you mentioned with the trademark, really helping them to adapt without even a timeout. You'd expect a timeout to be able to help them, but nope, they're doing it on the fly.
Yeah, and I mean, Complex there kind of learning their lesson from not the last round, but the 2 rounds ago when they were completely kind of denied that peak A main. As soon as they missed their first shot, they rendezvous out, they play for that retake. Even with the operator, they looked very confident there in CT, you know, taking the fight, taking the Empress out of the equation in the form of the AMG frag, and then even just being able to follow it up, act that apply pressure, cut off peeking angles so the rest of their team could take space. Yes, it ultimately fell apart in the end because of Braintham's hero plays, but it was a great showing, and now they've even repositioned the operators. Now the question becomes, where is the op since this pit has been dropped to be made?
Ooh, Anchor with the double poisons. And Pristine's just trying all they can for these picks. CSI is pretty much on their toes here, though. In this 4v3 situation, again, as you mentioned, the Viper's pit online. Anchor doing all they can. Ooh, but AMG's not giving up without a fight. And the judge takes its first victim.
Sorry, son.
Is it going to take another one? Oh, and there it goes. One player standing for CSI. Shattered comes around this time, taking it a bit differently. The Toxic Pit is down.
I mean, they've kind of read the positioning of Shattered here a little bit. Yes, they missed the recon bolt, but now even the Poison Cloud kind of revealing their intent, and they know that they're on the B side. The question is, oh, not the timing again.
The timing. Indeed. But that was something, you know, Shattered being able to wrap around. They didn't quite know where they were, and of course Shattered had the lunchbox in the first place, right? Having that spike instead of having it down all the way to elbow, per se, is something that's sort of going to help them.
Yeah, and on the other side of things for the defense, I mean, the fact that Complex, like I said, that repositioning this operator so you don't know where it is, they completely took out Lonnie. Like, Lonnie was such an impact fragger over on Lotus, and they are 2-6 right now. They haven't been able to get those first bloods. They haven't been able to kind of open up the map as they like to do. So hopefully the Tour de Force will help with that, but they're going to come face to face with the operator from Complex. So let's see if the ultimate truly does make a difference here.
Poor Lonnie getting singled out, but hopefully the Tour de Force is going to be able to help them scale up again. Ooh, and Toxic Screen's down, but bye-bye Tour de Force as we come through, and Utica's right on A site, keeping it up. There's the shock darts to help scale that space while the rest of them rotate. Plant coming down now. Toxic Screen is back up once more, but Harbor is trying to go for another intersection. Bramathan with the Blade Storm online, hopefully going to find one before this wall comes down and something bad happens.
Oh?
One man standing, and Bramathan with the darts. And the blades coming through. 1v1 hero. Sorry, Son gets picked right off by Braintham. That was quite the blade storm there.
Yeah, I mean, they've kind of been, like I said, that pivot point, both in the round where Wizard was forced to save the operator, and now there with the Blade Storm completing the job that was started by the Tour de Force. And I mean, it's definitely helped them kind of establish themselves here, make sure the scoreline stays close. And now they're starting to even strain the economy on the side of, you know, the Mooses. I mean, the Tour de Force now kind of substituting in place of the operator for Complex. The rest of them now, kind of, if they lose this round, they're going to be forced into a save for the first time, I want to say, in this game.
Yeah, and that's something to keep in mind as we come into this new round. And Complex has finally gotten their one! These chamber versus chamber scenarios really coming in hot. And the Viper's Pit is as well, as we're seeing it come through. Not far after we just saw a Viper's Pit on the opposition. Pristine is just shooting straight through. Bombers down. And this fast-paced scenario is going to leave everyone in a bit of a high-pressure environment. Ooh, things are slowing down a bit. There goes that extra pick coming through. Utica's really scaling it off. As Pristine goes, the same thing that we just saw on Lotus with the high ground.
Yeah, Braintham not able to be the hero for the second time in a row for their team. But, I mean, I think the MVP for that is Pristine, right? Being able to take down that Viper's Pit so early, considering how much of an issue it was on that 2-person retake over on the B site. And, I mean, Shadowed there was a little antsy, right? They had the initial shot hit them, and they're like, okay, I need to reposition. But that reposition, I think, further solidified where the plant position was. And the follow-through was exactly what they needed there. And I mean, even moving into this round, yes, they used the Tour de Force last round, but now they even have the Reckoning here as another retake tool. If they even need it, look at this ult from Wizard.
Oh, the Hunter's Fury just coming straight on. No dart, no, nothing needed here. Just come through. Oh, and it looks like Chupin hit by 80.
Pristine.
And the first 2 picks are straight down. In a matter of seconds, CSI has not got it too much. But Utica's slowly getting traded off, so we might have an advantage here. The site's been taken fully. Look at that Viper screen.
And the shock dart chip damage is even more brutal. But Pristine look already in this flank position. And then look at...
That's not stopping Brain of them though. Keeping that backside space. 2v2 now. Turning the tide's not going to stop either of them. As we try and keep this space backside, but the bomb's being stuck. Sorry Sun has nothing to wait for. Not quite getting picked off yet. And both of CSI's players are peeking at once. This is a high-stakes environment here in a 2v2. Bomb does not have a lot of time left, but sticking it to half, we're coming close through. Oh, and they managed to pick up the final one! And Complex with that insane 2k, keeping the space on site and managing to finish it off for that second half of the bomb. What a round from Complex.
I mean, that's some aim routine level flicking if I've ever seen any there. I mean, they don't hit that shot.
Never.
Like, that should have been a trade there from Saga and Braintham. So, a little bit of a whiff, a little bit of a round given away, considering how kind of they were able to bounce back after AMG had been dropped so fast into the round. Same with, I think it was another one of their players from that push out from Pristine. And I feel like that's one of the keys to success that, you know, Utica's had so far. AMG has been first blooded time and time again, and it's not their fault. They've just been caught in unfortunate situations, but then they're not being able to be that, like we said, selfish duelist.
Yeah, but looks like this time AMG is a selfish... that initial peak. Oh, there we go, and the trades are happening so quickly on mid. Look what just happened. Oh, it's 2v2 within seconds. 2v1 now. Last player standing is Brainatham is mid, but the bomb is so far off as Complex has that control, trying to peek what's going on there, and that smoke is probably going to give away their positioning as we see what's happening. Things slowing down a bit. There's plenty of time for Brainatham to get that bomb.
I love the reservation, though, from Anchor, right?
Yeah.
They know that a lot of pressure is on Complex here with that operator. They should know that Braintham is aware that they're opping in this position, but they don't even need the op. It's the headhunter from, like, Cave, and this headhunter has been, I want to say, more deadly than the operator for them at this point.
You know what? And the operator's more expensive, so that's quite a thing to think about. Well, we're coming in through almost the end of the half here as we come in. Really important for CSI here to start adapting as they get onto site, see how much they can scale off Utica, as their reactivity is just being something they can't quite grasp.
Yeah, I mean, it was 8-4 when it was the defense and attack starting sides like this over on Lotus. Looks like we're headed towards a repeat in history, unless CSI and these ultimates can do something about it. The Empress scare factor cleared at the B site for the pit, but it didn't really find too much elsewise in previous rounds, so I'm hoping the Seekers will kind of fill in that position here. Braintham as well, we've seen the hero plates from the Bladestorm. The question is, can they do it again? The other question is, look at this mid pressure that's been taken by Utica immediately.
Loney's still keeping an eye on mid, as you said, and AMG's aggression's not quite going to be able to be scaled up as that first blood from our operator on Utica side. Lance coming down by Shattered. Pristine's trying to get that retake holds as the rest of the team comes to rotate. Loney's no mercy as they keep mid space. Things are slowing down a little bit, but nevertheless, still trying to keep space with utilities. As the second pick comes through on main, the splits are happening, the multi-dimensions. Loney's got a hunch though, and Sorry Sun's coming up and close. And there goes that defusal. Sorry Sun with that wrap really helped them out there.
I feel like Sorry Son loves that A main wrap. Yes, they kind of lost their life to the trademark, but they didn't learn their lesson, and I think that benefited them, right? I mean, 2 rounds after that, like, for the rest of that half, they did critical damage in terms of the post-plant CSI was holding on to. And ultimately, in my eyes, that's what's led them to now this 9-3 half, is the amount of map control that they were able to take and maintain. And there really wasn't too much of response on the side of CSI. I mean, you could see Lonnie was trying to, but they ultimately would lose their life either after 1 or just from the victim of the operator that Complex was sporting. But I mean, new half, like we said, we saw them get a few rounds off over on Lotus. We'll see if they can improve it now, considering in my eyes this is a defense-sided map. But we'll have to see. I mean, up 9-3, you gotta be feeling good if you are Utica Blue.
Yeah, and you know what, as you mentioned, Utica sort of gave CSI a false sense of security on the defense here, but again, that trademark, as you were saying, really sort of looped them across. You know, oh, we've got a trademark here, let's make sure that we're keeping an eye on that one. And then it just got reversed as Sorry Son flanks. We come in here, and that false sense of security is nothing for Pristine to get that first blood on CSI, so now they really need to get over fast. As all the walls are up and Complex is getting the bomb down for Utica as we come through. Pristine trying for backside picks, but that's unsuccessful. As we're seeing the scaling begin, Saga and Brainatham waiting up on site for the walls to drop. Here come these extra picks. Things are still keeping up, the shots are being fired. Oh, Poison Orb down on Bomb. Shattered, going off for those extra picks, watching on main. 2v2 situation here as CSI is on pretty low HP. These shock darts coming through, letting the util do the talking so far. Saga last man standing. Can they get a bit of a bomb defuse? These jump peaks are wasting time for them. Saga getting picked off. Really didn't help that CSI had not a lot of HP to work with there.
That double jump peak was just chef's kiss, but
Yeah,
like
for both of them.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It was so in sync too. Like, if you're Saga, you don't know where to look in that situation. And I mean, I was kind of worried because, like, if you look on the side of Utica, they don't have too much post-plant utility. Yes, maybe they have shocks, maybe they have the snake bites, but they're kind of hard to place here sometimes on that location. But they didn't even need it, right? They were playing time so beautifully. And even though that space has been taken by CSI in terms of backside, in terms of Saga immediately pressuring after AMG had fallen, like, they couldn't address the cave. And now that leads to double digits and likely an 11th round from Utica Blue, unless they can stage an anti-eco miracle.
Yeah, but let's hope that aggression doesn't leave them at a disadvantage. Huh, interesting, as Brainatham's trying for that gun, but never mind, Utica's on top of it here. Hoping now that things have evened out, Utica doesn't lose more people, given they have all these weapons to deal with. AMG is keeping their selfishness as endorsed, as you said. Oh, but gets picked straight off, and Utica has a chance to plant finally in this 4v2 situation.
Yeah, and I mean, even now the mid kind of lurk players are finding their shots. Like, every player here is doing their job. They want to lock things down here in this 2-0 fashion. They don't want to go to Haven. They want to keep that streak that we talked about, that dominance in the East Coast Conference alive heading into the next week, heading into week 4. And I mean, it's been impressive so far here, especially on Breeze, which was CSI's pick. And I mean, if there's a time to stop the bleeding, it's now. But I'm questioning, did CSI force? Why don't they have rifles here?
This is an interesting question. Maybe they don't need the rifles after all. Oh, there is aggression
Maybe they
peak. Loney's going straight down. Yep, looks like we've got something we need to work with here. But Saga's like, never mind. These trades coming through. Oh my gosh, 4v2 now. Things are going fast, but the plant's coming down now. Shattered in a bit of a position as we're seeing here. Headhunter possibly going to pick one off, but never mind. Shatter's simply better with the Phantom in hand. Bomb is down. Oof. And there goes that final one. Shatter getting eliminated off, but that utility on the forefront instead of Anchor dry swinging that was impressive.
Yeah, I mean, they locked onto her immediately. Shatter doing a good job trying to reclaim that space, but 1v3, it's a tall bill to fill. And, I mean, now leading on to 12-3, yes, they have rifles back, so maybe that's why they didn't buy fully last round, because they knew they would be reset into a buy on match point. But, I mean, you have to win 9 rounds in a row now to head into OT. And Complex is going to be sporting the attack Tour de Force paired with the Judge. So, I mean, long range, they got it covered. Short range, they got it covered. I mean, AMG here is going to try and go aggressive here again at the start of a round where Anchor is at the receiving end, and they're ready for it.
And AMG's plays are
He played.
nothing new for them, as Utica picks them off straight away, and these trades leaving it to a 4v4. Complex and the Tour de Force, the classic duo, and things are happening mid now. Things are picking up their pace. The Saga's trying to keep that space with Tasmanian Tiger, laying it alone, not quite getting seen. But these trades, Pristine taking the high ground and getting counted in this 2v1. Is this the end? And Utica going to be able to close out in a 2-0 series. Loney's taking that space on mid, and the bomb's heading towards B.
They're trying to isolate here, which is very intelligent. But I mean, even then, as soon as the pick was gotten, you saw Complex running to play with their team here, and I'm worried. I do agree with you. I mean, this is what the Tour de Force is known for, and I mean, even then, now the insult to injury is this Viper's Pit. I don't know if Complex has swapped their weapons, but last time we checked, they had that Judge. So look at this.
And being the last man standing, Loney's got a lot to carry on their shoulders here. Quite a few shoes to fill amongst the 3 other roles that they need to take. But Loney's doing it quite well, and now it's just the Viper's Pit to take care of. As Anchor and Loney come head to head almost, not quite choosing to swing out. Loney just tapping the bomb, but Anchor's not getting fooled here. This Viper's Pit staying up and dropping it through Loney, not giving up without a fight. Leaving CSI back on the board for a 12-4. This is not the end for them. And just enough time to defuse. Look at that.
I mean, what can we say? You know, Lonnie has the clutch gene. I mean, we saw it on Lotus. We haven't really gotten to see it here because alongside AMG, they have been the kind of the first to fall on their attack half. So now that they're alive into the late round, maybe that's a win condition. You know, keep Lonnie alive and they can clutch up in these situations. And I mean, that was a hard round to do it in. I mean, you have a Tour de Force holding down the long angles, you have a pit to hold the close spike, and they somehow were able to navigate both beautifully, slipping through the cracks and able to isolate those fights and keep their team alive here. 12-4 though, they have the Seekers online kind of as a strategy for a retake here. The question is, what will be the response from Utica Blue?
You know what? It's not a fight that's done until we say so, as Braintham's ready to get that drone offline. Utica's ready to take that space though. Jet v Jet coming through. Dart getting almost smoked off, but that swing was not enough here. Pristine keeping the space. Saga waiting to push through, and that helps to pay off. Sorry Sun getting that trade down. Maybe Utica's got that chance here, as Sorry Sun gets picked off, but it's a 3v2 now. Things are picking up. AMG's rapping again. Ooh, and here we go. Shattered's coming down. One man
There's
standing.
window. Yeah.
Oh, and there we go for Utica. Again, that window wrap. What a game, and that's 2-0 for Utica Blue. What a series so far. We had Lotus where they pick it up, and we had Breeze following through where they picked it up again. Sobi, how are you feeling?
I mean, I will say I was expecting to be a little bit closer considering the performance that College Staten Island had against SNHU. But I mean, now that we've seen the dominance that came out of Utica, I think that they could be a contender to shut down the champions. I mean, we missed out on that fight because SNHU FF'd. So we don't know how that matchup would have been. And so I don't know if we get to see both of them move on, if they are the top 2 teams of their group. That would be an insane matchup to have later down the line. But either way, I mean, I don't know if CSI was experimenting on Breeze, considering that was a map that they haven't played so far in the East Coast Conference. I mean, they played Haven twice, Ascent twice, Lotus once, now twice. And that was definitely a new introduction. And it definitely shows that they have some things to work on, right? I mean, also, obviously, Ken was out, one of their usual duelists, so you have Braintham stepping into that position and AMG stepping in as well, who clearly was not the most confident on the Reyna on Breeze. So, I mean, it might have just been an off week for them as well. Like we said, they don't have their core 5 intact at that time.
You know what, as you said, despite the sub-in, Braintham still did their job, as we can see here, going 15-15 for that team as well. But Anchor not quite doing that job like Pristine should be, as they're up on the top frag for him at an 18-10 KD. So it looks like things aren't quite how you'd expect, right? You'd expect the duelist to be at the top in terms of roles, but it's really impressive to see how Utica Blue had split up those roles, right? It's not a bad thing for the controller to be at top frag, right? The duelist is able to do their job nevertheless, and picks don't always mean everything.
Yeah, no, and like we touched on a little bit, like at the beginning of the map, like Breeze is kind of Viper's domain, right? It's just, you're forced to push these toxic screens, you're forced to challenge their defensive hold, and often than not, like, you can shut down multiple of these hits. You can get these multi-frags. And I mean, evident by the almost 300 ACS, they definitely had their impact for Anchor in this 2-0 victory over CSI.
And you know what? The first bloods can mean a lot, especially for a controller, but being able to spread that off to different parts of the team, being able to play past the parcel with what the responsibilities are going to be, especially when you're in a clutch situation when you have to fill the shoes of 3 other roles, you being that one. Again, 4 in the Valorant game, you have to be playing chess here when everyone's playing checkers and get that advantage over them.
Yeah, but with that, as we said, that does kind of bring at least the games to a close. But stick around. We are going to see if we can get an interview, from the winning team from Utica Blue here to see kind of what made that success possible. See if they did study, see if they did counter-strat, what allowed them to triumph this dominantly. So with that, we'll be back hopefully after a quick break.
And there's really no need for them to. There's only one way that they can come in. This is perfect execution. And with all 5 members left up standing, they only have one opportunity to get in there. Raga, 3 kills on the board. Make that 4! Raga on fire already in a flawless first round here. Raga. As much as I respect this B wall being put here, the problem becomes is that they have the weapons to really mess things up. Oh, Ossify not clear the corners, up in the air.
No way!
Sunflower still walks away before finally being taken down with 2 kills. Gonna blast them right in. Parker's gonna try and find it. 2 concussed in heaven, but they're not gonna get any advantage out of this breach ultimate. Beautiful from Killavati. What a way to fight that out. And now wrapped in it, the nightmarish embrace of Glore. USCA finds every single player of GCSU. In comes the Prowler. Madness Adder! It's just not many! It's head after head after head! 3 in a row! They are not stopping. They are putting a hat on each and every single one.
Ties us up 4-4, but with this weapons disadvantage and now player disadvantage, what else to be done other than lay down and die? USCA winning split 13-1. The most, if their accuracy stands to boot. Now, unfortunately, I'm not so far, but who cares when B gets a 4K and rips this team apart on this site A. A beautiful performance. All she has. Haddest. I don't know. That's what it is now. Lord Ian, last one left standing. Lord Ian, the 14th. Last one left standing.
They don't have time.
Up, and
Except
nobody's got time to plant, Sam. Great eye, my friend. Lord Ian clutches the round technically, but a win is a win is a win. The Elim to boot! How insulting!
Parker needs to make the magic happen. They have their ult. They have the smokes available to them, but they have seen them. They need to throw it down. In comes the Molly and Mattis Hatter to finish it up with the Odin kill. And there you have it. USCA. I said it right this time. Are going to be able to take this map of Ascent, and they're going to be able to take this series 2-0.
Instead, that's nice to see. So even though we haven't seen North Georgia really be able to march forward with a lot of convincing attacks, at least the backline up until now has been secure. Can't get the read on the bounce, and that's finally our first goal. 10 seconds to go for Kennesaw trying to close this one out.
Yeah, still with the pressure here from Kennesaw. Now only our second demo. This one from downtown, and that's going to be an own goal here at 3 seconds. We spoke a little too soon here, Danger Talk. Slavip left side, little tap, not really taking away possession. Now definitely does. Spider going up the double tap. Hugh Dog and North Georgia come from behind victory with the Puma symbol on the side.
As we've seen many time with new rosters in the beginning of the semester, this might be the first time these players are really playing together at all. So this is really setting the tone for how you guys all click together. Quong trying to bury one here on the near post, and he does just that. Better. Be able to pad those stats. Quong throwing it right back in. That should be open, but it's just wide instead.
Almost gets the nose down onto it. A couple members fighting, twisting, and now an open net the other way going for North Georgia. Nobody's almost hitting payload. Now is Joel. A little soft hit right there. Kind of just puts it in the breadbasket of a couple North Georgia players. That's really, really bad as this one comes all the way down from the other side. Being able to con the defense out of a clear that gets you the ultimate goal, as we will be able to enter into that 1-1. Maybe not for long as that clear gets away. Hugh Dog into Archie, and well worked from North Georgia. Safe to the side. They're feeling like heroes. They're keeping it up. Slavip into the ceiling. Sharky doesn't get it. Joel with a deflection. It's Quonk at 0. Hugh Dog in the way. Another save. North Georgia will very much so take that ball hitting the grass. Overtime somehow. Now Coming up for the serve, Hudog down, that's a bouncer, just a little bit too high though as Sharky tries to continue the theme. Down bottom, and Archie does it here for North Georgia, set up all day long. Now shoots in right now, but Quonk is going to win that 50. He's screaming off to the side, bounce off some wall, and now in his middle until North Georgia gets another shot at it.
Watch me open for Hudog, and they will make no mistake. Quonk, I gotta say, a great effort, but sometimes you need something even greater. You're seeing a player get thrown all the way across, like Joel's really just flailing, and you're thinking, okay, well, I probably have enough time to go to the corner, and then instead, it is in your net, something they're becoming quite familiar with as a feeling. There's number.
Demo does come through, those Hudog taking down a Kennesaw State member. Back to the middle, screaming up to this one, now to the left side. All three members right here. This is a very bottled up defense, and Sharky takes a bite.
No one even there because, frankly, I think Kennesaw thought that bounce was going to be going a different direction. Same maybe with the defense here for UNG. They can't read it. Slavip does. It's 1-1. They were actually on the far side waiting for an awkward touch and then dove in and actually used their flip angle to throw it right back in the middle. Of course, I'm talking about them. And meanwhile, it's just Swiss cheese for Kennesaw. They're getting sliced through by the blade that is the UNG attack. How about Joel trying to show them how it's done? It's a little bit too soft, a little bit of a double commit even. Quonk near post, that's a miss. Slavip, that's a miss. Joel, that's a miss. Everybody swinging at it. Get these people some corrective lenses because it's Sharky on the far side with the clear vision from the teammate. My goodness, my heart.
Tit for tat, player for player, they're trying to make those right in the midst of the field. But even so, Florida Southern, they're being sent packing. They're having a lot of pressure here, Orbital. And let the strike on target. Texas Red, the hero of us all, says. Florida Southern, though, they've been able to corral CVU. And now just with a slow turn, they're going to dive the box and they're going to crash it as well. That zipper ain't getting stuck. It's getting a second goal.
At least for a moment, right? That's what we're going to say here. For a moment, but that's LSM. Beautiful, beautiful opportunity.
Backboard, they're getting a bit loosey-goosey with these possessions, but hey, Converse, they're going to try and strike quickly. A 1-2, the strike is on target. LSM finds a second. That's going to be Patrick. That steps up to the plate, and it's LSM that was still looking for Big Boost. He does find it in the corner, but they're going to be demos, and now this becomes a power play right around that near side post. A strike on target, the bouncer will go through. That's good for Zipper's second of the game, and the third for Florida Southern as they'll take game one. You got to be able to do the exact same thing here as they're playing alongside their teammates. This one's going to rock and roll all the way to the post, and it will be crashed by Saj. Nice little bit of fun fact, Saj. Their #1 fan is, in fact, their mom, which is always great to be able to see, but even more so.
Props can mean the end of the game if they're not careful.
Oh, and this one very well could be the same. Nice takeaway. They're going to get the second man coming up as well. Patty cake, that's your baker's man. Looking for a 1-2, though. What a cutoff. Patrick's able to get the save.
Very, very well done. And now ball open, but Zipper said I have the opportunity as well. Up top rungs it goes. CVU not able to get that goal.
So much pressure. They cannot just exist back here because LSM is going to dive through. Florida Southern was so just so efficient with in the first game. They were able to have these just quick offenses. Saj is going to take advantage of this.
What did I say?
It's so strange how quickly this game or this series can evolve. LSM came for the backboard, by the way, looking for the redirect, and that's a putback. Patty, my man Patrick got
understanding a little bit more communication as well. I understand it's good sometimes. Hey, send 2 defenders, make sure your opportunity. But that's going to be another opportunistic goal. Texas over and over again. Pick it up a little bit, see what they can do. That's going to be one pass off the side still. Cut out now, an open goal here. It just simply rolls in for LSM. Zipper trying to get a little bit of a jump here in game 3.
good kick out. LSM looking for the drop down! More Converse, and they're trying to do the same thing here. One extra read, making that angle, and it will drop in underneath. The damage is done. Patrick will be able to tackle it through. Demo is going to loosen that attack up. That's a free ball, free net, free to go. No way! The defense comes through, and then it decides to trip on their own shoes. Will you guys be able to get that big dub for Orbital? We go game 5, or does Converse close it out? Big challenge! Hey, look, Orbital, there you go. Been able to see some life from FSC. But this is the problem. Look how many extra opportunities you're getting over and over and over. Converse is trying to take a page out of that playbook because they do have that game advantage, so they can get a big aggressive. Big tackle! Texas Red, they followed alignment, and last time I tried a head spin, my mom was dropping me on the ground. That was a long time ago. Big flick, trying to power play it through, and you get the finisher by Spooky, but it was this flick that ruined them all. Some of these balls fly pretty high. Everyone's at home. You see two on the ground. Spooky actually being given a chance, but you just saw how quickly that one was
Able to knock the ball up, but that's going to be a chance back. Off the backboard, are you able to catch it? You bounce it, LSM was ready, and that's another kick to the corner! Saj was ready!
Let's check it out.
You know, we're spinning that final track on the disc, right? The final track is there, and that might be a roller to kick things off. No one's there to catch it, and LSM! You can see there, another check out of the air, ensuring that the ball does not go too far. Now a chance, rolls it high, off the backboard. Spooky was ready, and Spooky gets it!
To be able to at least have half that time remaining. Converse, they're posting up. Great defense, but it's got to be an even bigger offense. Saj take just seconds remaining off of the sidewall. They have one extra possession, but FSC is under fire, duress, and stress. CVU trying to take down the Kings of the Court. Here for Peach Belt Conference. That's a strike on target. And Spooky! Exclamation point.
For a touchdown. 15 seconds just about left in this first period. Before we head to overtime, shot on goal. The demo comes through, and that is a 1-goal lead. They have had a hat trick on the Trot Orbital. Quebec, and I mean, you know, you don't expect to think about that, but you know what? Why not Florida Southern? Why not a Georgia College Southern? Why not them?
Well, yeah, and that's the off the other side. They were not having that many shots. A lot of them were just kind of off the post. They were almost repositioning shots, right? Trying to bounce back. But this is what happens, Soj. This is why FSC may not just try and play defense, just keep it out of the hands of GCSU.
You know what, Daniel? I'm starting to see them fight for these mega boosts as well. They're trying to stop the starve. But Soj with number 4 may have just put this.
Turning it on, getting into their comfort zone, and I'm loving it. Now, straight up midfield, and no real challenges, trying to go for it. Zipper said, hey, yo, and that's going to be the demo. Soj gets another on the board.
Even now that all the juices are flowing here for FSC, this might be the turnaround point here early in the season that gives us the FSC that we know can be in Zipper. Putting another one on the board, that's 2 now on the trot for Zipper.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Peach Belt Conference Rocket League. I am your last-minute substitute, possibly joined by Monkey Man.
We're back after a 2-0 for Utica Blue against CSI. Coming in, I'm joined with Zobi, my co-caster for today, and we've got an interview for you, exclusive, coming from Utica Blue. Here we're joined by Anchor 2D. How you going today?
Hello. I'm good, how are you?
All right. Good, we're doing well, I think. We've got a few questions for you, Zobi, if you want to kick it off for us.
Yeah, you look like you're actually in the school esports space, so that's really cool.
Yeah.
But, yeah, my first question is, right, you just came out of a week that was kind of a bye because of SNHU kind of FFing, so did you, like, feel at all rusty, or, like, was that kind of just time to, like, cook and prepare for this match against CSI in terms of, like, VOD reviewing and counter-stratting, or, like, anything, like, you want to talk about in the preparation work?
No, we didn't feel rusty. We practice every week, so even though the game got canceled, we still got scrims in and practiced and whatnot, just so we stay in our form.
Perfect.
That's really impressive, but we didn't see any timeouts from you guys throughout the series. How did you manage to adapt on the fly?
We kind of picked our Breeze comp from the fly. We've never really played Breeze, and I don't know, we just kind of like ran with it, and everything like just worked out. Yeah, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Just kind of did it by the fly.
Good luck you guys have.
That makes
So
sense.
look, I say just practice, just really it is.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because like previously it was just Haven and Ascent, and now we got to see like Breeze and Lotus, so I'm glad you guys picked that.
Yeah.
But my question actually is about that Lotus and how you were on that breach, and I don't remember exactly how many assists you got, but I remember looking at the map and it was already like at 11 or something. So like, how did you kind of communicate so well with your team that you were like consistently layering this breach utility with kind of all of your initiators, with your Omen, so there was always something to kind of deny space?
I'm like the IGL, so basically it's pretty easy for like me to tell people like what to do, My flashes kind of helped my team out a lot. Yeah, that's pretty much. I mean, I'm just like a breach main, so
It's good to know.
Impressive to know that you're a breach maybe. Go into that Viper controller setting. So I'm going to ask you actually, Anchor. Viper is a pretty strong agent on breach in general. So what was the predominant strategy used on both defense and attack for this game?
So wait, can you repeat that question again? I'm sorry.
You know, using Viper as a pretty strong agent on Breeze, what was the predominant strategy that you managed to use on both sides?
I learned lineups for Viper and what's it called? Um, wait, what? But anyways, I just learned lineups for Viper, and I kind of play everything, but I'm more of an initiator main. So, yeah, it kind of flows well because I could play smokes and what's it called, initiator. That's what I flow off of. We kind of switch off of initiator and smokes.
Really important to know that you're pretty dynamic. I guess that is what helped you on Breeze.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you already said that that comp was kind of pulled out last minute, so that flexibility definitely, hopefully, kind of gave to that dominant lead. But I guess our last question, which is kind of more kind of chill, is there anybody that you want to like thank or shout out here on stream for like your success this week, or kind of any messages to teams going forward?
I just want to shout out my whole team, everyone out here. We all performed very well and we worked really hard. And I want to shout out my boy Joyce. You know? And yeah, that's it. We're coming for you guys. That's all.
Well, thank you so much, Anchor, for joining us for this interview. And hello to the other people over there, probably from your team, right?
Yeah.
That's epic. Well, tomorrow we have another East Coast conference, but for League of Legends this time, Farmingdale State College versus Southern New Hampshire University at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. You won't want to miss it. But in the meantime, my name's Crife, and that's Obi over there. And we thank you for joining in today. 2-0 Utica Blue versus CSI. See you later.
For a touchdown. 15 seconds just about left in this first period. Before we head to overtime, shot on goal. Ooh. The demo comes through, and that is a 1-goal lead. They have had a hat trick on the Trot Orbital. Quebec, and I mean, you know, you don't expect to think about that, but you know what? Why not Florida Southern? Why not a Georgia College Southern? Why not that?
Well, yeah, and that's the off the other side. They were not having that many shots. A lot of them were just kind of off the post. They were almost repositioning shots, right? Trying to bounce back. But this is what happens, Soj. This is why FSC are senior may not just try and play defense. Just keep it out of the hands of GCSU.
You know what, Daniel? I'm starting to see them fight for these mega boosts as well. They're trying to stop the starve. But Soj with number 4 may have just put this.
Turning it on, getting into their comfort zone, and I'm loving it. Now, straight up midfield, and no real challenges, trying to go for it. Zipper said, hey, yo, and that's going to be the demo. Soj gets another on the board.
Even now that all the juices are flowing here for FSC, this might be the turnaround point here in the early in the season that gives us the FSC that we know can be in Zipper. Putting another one on the board, that's 2 now on the trot for Zipper.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Peach Belt Conference Rocket League. I am your last-minute substitute, joined. I possibly joined by Monkey Man. Monkey Man, are you? Oh no.
Yeah, very favorably for Montevallo before it becomes a massive clear in the other direction. The Pacers, though they've not been able to find these follows and burning through all the reserves, setting themselves up in a great position. And Kuno with the cleanup. Look at
fast enough, and now UM is going to be 4-1 still up on the board. They lose ball control as it hurdles towards the goal of their own, and nobody can get there fast enough. Surgical precision from USCA to find that second goal.
It becomes counterplay after counterplay between these two squads. A much lower scoring affair, but we have a much lower set of seconds on the timer with just 90 to go. A free net again. And you can't commit defensive blunders like that as a third will go up for the Falcons.
Because it is just this consistent play of almost enough. What a great example. Almost enough, but it feels like they're just pulling back at the wrong moments. They're pulling in just a little bit too slow, and it causes critical blunders like that. They go no score on the board, unfortunately, and I think they are going to go silently into the rest of tonight with a 3-0 loss against them. UM comes out strong, and Montevallo has a victory at hand. There is.
It's going to be Zidak consistently getting back to center stage and immediately punish. They've won that stage control, but if you're getting punished every single time, is it really worth it? Goes back to Mithra just to eat the up air, and that is Ninja Nick with a going in